censorious thug.
Well, hi, everybody. Ezra Levant. It's June 24th, and I am still at sea. I've recorded an extended monologue with my thoughts on a bunch of things in the world, ranging from the Middle East and Donald Trump to the by-elections in Alberta yesterday. Trouble is, the file is so large and the internet on the ship is so weak that it's taking so long to send it. I'm worried it won't make it in time for tonight's show. So if that's the case, I'm making this sort of backup plan. Today's show will have two parts. Not my monologue, that'll have to wait till tomorrow, but an interview my friend Sheila Gunn-Reid did with Salman Sima. He's an Iranian freedom activist in Toronto, and a great video by Lincoln J. and Efron Monsanto, two of my buddies who've gone with me before to Dublin. I was at sea this week, so obviously I couldn't go to Dublin for their huge anti-immigration mark, but I think they did a great job. Here, take a look at Salman Sima being interviewed by Sheila, and then Lincoln and Efron in Dublin. I'll have my by-election thoughts for you tomorrow. Thanks, and sorry for the technical hiccup.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
So there's Trump's reaction to Iran and Israel, with reports of Israel breaking the ceasefire to hit an Iranian radar strike. Some Republican voices say this doesn't constitute a break of the ceasefire negotiated by President Trump. But that's the politicians and what they have to say. I wanted to talk to Salman Sima because he is an Iranian dissident, a legal immigrant here to Canada. And I know that he's been watching this very closely, and he's going to give us a much different perspective about what's happening right now between Iran and Israel. Salman, thanks for joining me on the show as I fill in for Ezra. Before we get started, tell us about your experience with the Iranian regime and with the IRGC. They are the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They are a death cult, and you had to live with that before you came to Canada. So go back a little, explain it as though you're just meeting me for the first time. Where do you come from and how did you end up here?
Okay, thank you, Sheila, for the opportunity. First of all, this is not the war of Iranian people. This is the war between Islamic Republic in Iran and the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel. And as you mentioned, they are a death cult. And what's their true name? I see that many journalists, not you, many of the other journalists, they did this mistake. It's not Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. It's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Nothing is Iranian about this cult, okay? Even in their name, okay? It is not supreme leader of Iran. Even themselves, they call it supreme leader of the Islamic Republic, supreme leader of the Islamic Revolution, okay? In my opinion, supreme loser. So in Iran, when I was a student, we raised a voice about human rights in our university, human rights violation by the regime. We were just a bunch of students. They arrested me. They banned me from my education. When 2008, we were organizing some huge student uprising. So they arrested me. They put me 37 days in solitary confinement. It was horrible, but these days, when I see the footage in Iran, when I see the bravery of my fellow Iranians, honestly, they are much more brave these days, and I admire them. So they torture me. They put me in solitary confinement, and I did hunger strike, dry hunger strike, no food, no water. Lots of human rights group issued a statement, and finally I could manage to escape the country. And with the smuggler, I went to Turkey. Then I came here, as you mentioned, as a legal immigrant, and I came to Canada in 2011. And unfortunately, when I compare the current situation in Canada with what happened in my beautiful homeland, Iran, in 1979, unity of left and unity of jihadist Islamists ruined one of the most beautiful and the most historic country on planet Earth. Okay, the same thing is happening here. You see that the unity between left and Islamist jihadists. Give me an example why QP, the union in Ontario, they should support the regime in Iran, left and Islamist jihadists. So yeah, ceasefire, in one hand, it can be a good news. But when I go to social media and see the opinion of my fellow Iranians, the majority of us, we believe that Israel and the US need to finish the job. The problem with Western politicians, they think that they can go for reasonable negotiation with the jihadists. No, you cannot do that. Even they don't follow their own best interests. This is a jihadist. Why Khamenei did that? There is no why. They are psycho. They are
Right.
Nazi. They are stupid. And this is the reason that every single time Western politician wants to negotiate, wants to reach to a reasonable solution with Islamic regime does something more crazy because it's unpredictable.
Now, I want to ask you, because I think you're obviously plugged into this and more in tune to it, what's the sentiment of the normal Iranians, the normal Persians in Iran? Are they hopeful right now that this could be the turning point, the fall of the regime?
Definitely is the beginning of fall of the regime. Definitely. Okay. Just it's not matter of yes or no. It's matter of when. It's gonna be soon. It's gonna take time. Okay. Definitely, it's the beginning of fall of the regime. And many Iranians like me, we have mixed feeling. On the one hand, we see the IRGC commanders, Hossein Salami, Amir Ali Hajizadeh, they were served justice by IDF, and we are happy. I'm happy that I see that my torturer are dead. Definitely, I'm happy. On the other hand, yes, there are some civilian casualty. Yes, there are some innocent people. So all the blood is on the hand of the regime in Iran. Okay. This is the regime that oppressing people, oppressing Iranian more than anyone on planet Earth. This regime killed Muslim more than anyone on planet Earth. This regime helped Bashar al-Assad. This regime helped Al-Qaeda. This regime had 700 active members of IRGC freely operating and treating the national security of Canadians. So this is a problem, and you cannot go with ceasefire or reaching peace with this kind of regime.
Now, are you concerned that we could see IRGC generals ending up in Canada? It wouldn't be the first time. During COVID, one was discovered at a gym in Toronto when the rest of us were banned from the gyms. He was working out in a hotel gym. Are you at all concerned that we might see IRGC types ending up in Canada?
I am not concerned. It's something that passed the concern. We are seeing that. Actively, we are seeing that. We see two members of IRGC, the famous photo during the hatred Hamas encampment in UFD. We know that behind those encampment were IRGC and the Muslim Brotherhood and Ikhwan al-Muslimin CCP. We know that. This is a fact. This is not something that you claim it or I claim it. Several times the deputy leader of Conservative Party, Melissa Lansman, raised the issue in Canadian Parliament, Globe and Mail, and several the other journalists, even those journalists that supported the Liberal, they paid by Justin Trudeau, even they raised this issue. And don't forget that Amir Ali Hajizadeh, who were killed 10 days ago by IDF, he was directly involved and issued the order for killing 55 Canadians on the flight PS5-2. This is not something that concerning us. Just after the ceasefire, okay, we know that at least 700, in my opinion, is more than that. And regime gonna activate its terrorist sleeper cell on Canadian soils. Definitely they're gonna do that. And just 2 days ago, we see the rally in front of U.S. consulate. They raised the picture of Ali Khamenei. Can you believe that Canadian Parliament passed a motion and they acknowledged the Islamic Republic in Iran as a #1 terrorist in the world? Then they can glorify terrorism on Canadian soil. Thank you to Olivia Cha. Thank you to Mark Carney.
Yeah, just don't honk your horn.
Exactly.
I want to ask you what this means for the region. Just, as someone from there with ties to the region, what does this mean for the likes of Hamas and Hezbollah, which are, Iranian-backed terror groups? If the regime falls, will we see a lessening of the stranglehold that Hamas and Hezbollah have on their respective regions?
So, first of all, quick correction. This is not Iranian-backed terrorists, Islamic regime-backed. We are the nation of Cyrus the Great. Everything about Iran is great. Okay. Yes, and make Iran great again. And second point, when these proxies are designed, okay, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, Hashd Shabi, Zainabiyun, Fatimiyun, I can just name it, okay? When these proxies were designed by Islamic regime, these proxies are arm of the regime to defend the regime. You see, it's not the regime to defend its proxies. Hamas, Hezbollah, those sleeper terrorist cells are defending regime. And after October 7, we see the new phenomenon happen in Middle East. Israel's weakened 90% of Hamas capability. They went with amazing pager operation after Hezbollah, and they remove the first butcher, first killer on planet Earth. Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad killed innocent kids. Gas, they use chemical gas against kids. So we see that step by step, they cut the arm and the alliance of the regime in Iran. And honestly, I'm not shocked, and it's too early to believe the ceasefire, but you cannot have ceasefire with Islamic regime. The problem with some people, some conservative-minded good friends, they think that if you don't do anything with these jihadis, with this Islamic regime, they will let you be in peace. No, they are the aggressive cult. They're gonna come after you. If you don't go after head of a snake in Tehran, if you don't go after IRGC is gonna come in your backyard, and this is something that we see in Toronto.
Now, before I let you go, I want to ask you about how it makes you feel to see people like Gary Mason of the Globe and Mail saying things like, well, if Israel is allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Would somebody please explain it to me why Iran can't have one? How does it make you feel having escaped a death cult hell-bent on a global caliphate, and they will kill the rest of us if we don't join their caliphate? How does it make you feel to see Canadian journalists equating Israel, the only democracy in the region, with Iran? If Israel can have a nuclear weapon, why can't Iran? How does that make you feel having escaped?
It shows the ignorance, and let me be clear, okay? They are not journalists. They are a mouthpiece of Islamic regime in Iran. And please stop educating my fellow brave Iranian. We are fighting 46 years with regime, okay? You know that how many thousand people bravely went to the street and fighted face-to-face, empty-hand with IRGC. How many people were headshot? Still, I have some friends, they are in Evin prison. Over 1,000 people lost one eye or two eyes during last 2 days. 600 people were headshot in the street of Iran by the regime. Over 20,000 people were arrested by the Islamic regime. And these are the lowest estimate. The actual number is higher than this, okay? And some white privileged dude in Canadian fake news gonna lecture me about, the Islamic regime have a nuclear power is good. They didn't have nuclear power. They shoot to the civilian airline flight PS752. They didn't have a nuclear. Imagine that those monsters have the nuclear power. They're gonna destroy their Iranians. They're gonna destroy Middle East, and they're gonna come after you. The only reason, not the only reason, the main reason that Canadians need to stand behind Israel, the main reason that all the West should stand behind Israel, because Israel is fighting on behalf of all humanity. Just believe those Islamist jihadist terrorists. Ali Khamenei said that I'm gonna come after Israel. I'm gonna wipe out from the map. They are saying that. They don't hide it. They are chanting from the river to the sea. Just instead of talking and being the mouthpiece of the IRGC, just zip up, shut up, and listen to those chants in the street of Toronto. Listen to those chants in the street of Montreal, if you are a French-spoken people. So just listen and believe these jihadists. They don't hide it anymore. They said that we're gonna come after your civilization. They said that our goal is establishing Sharia law, establishing Khalifa, and the level of ignorance. I escaped from Sharia law. Okay, the level of ignorance that I see on Canadian society and Western society between the politicians. Yeah, you think that you can go and negotiate with Hamas? The bylaw of the Hamas said that killing all Jews. Okay, so we're gonna negotiate for killing 50% of the Jews, or you're gonna go after making a deal with Islamic regime that trained Al-Qaeda back to 9/11. We know that they orchestrate October 7. They kill 55 Canadians in a intentional missile attack to flight PS752. They kill Zahra Kazemi, Canadian journalist. They kill Kavus Said Emami, another Iranian Canadian University of professor. They executed several Canadians. They jailed dual citizen Canadians. Some of them were my cellmate. Just please stop us, okay? You want to talk about Middle East? Come to talk with Salman Sima.
Now, Salman, before I let you go, tell us how people can find your activism, because you are out there all the time protesting against Hamas and their apologists on the streets of Toronto. How can people follow your activism?
I don't call it activism. I am not a BLM or climate change activist. This is a real fight, okay? This is a real fight. Mm-hmm. And I owe to the people of Iran, to my cellmates, to those people that still they are fighting for freedom. And I owe to this country. I owe to Canada. Canada, give me the freedom and rights that I was denied in my beautiful homeland. This is the reason whenever I organize a rally, I started with All Canada. Whenever you come to Salman Sima, you see Canadian flags. You know that? I used to wave Canadian flags before it became fashionable, you know that. So, yeah, we chanted for freedom in Ottawa. They came after us. But if jihad is praising Hamas and glorifying jihad, Ottawa police, Toronto police gonna protect them. So social media these days works very well, and they can follow me on Real Salman Sima on Instagram and Salman Sima on Twitter, and you can write it as a subtitle, and that's it. And trust me, I am not hard to find.
No, you're definitely not. You're out there everywhere. Salman, thank you so much. And I just wish my fellow Canadians had the passion for freedom and this country that you do.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for the opportunity that you gave it to me. I lost my freedom once in Iran. I don't want to lose my freedom here in Canada again.
Thanks, Salman. Stay with us. More up next after the break. You know, I say it every time I record a show. Without you, there's no Rebel News. So we better darn well care about what you think about the work that we do here at Rebel News. Ezra devotes the last portion of his show to viewer feedback. I do the same thing on my weekly gun show that airs on Wednesday nights. In fact, lately I've been devoting entire shows to viewer feedback because I've been traveling a lot for work, and I haven't been able to consistently book a guest. So I make you guys my guest. And the last guest segment of Ezra show is always you two. So today we're looking at viewer feedback on my interview when I covered for Ezra last week, because as you know, Ezra is on the Rebel News cruise and he doesn't have the best reception out on the high seas. And so I'm trying to cover and help as much as I can. And so last week I interviewed firearms and defense lawyer Ian Runkle of the Bailey, about the Ontario car owner who is facing charges for discharging a firearm to stop the theft of his vehicle. And at the time, Ontario Premier Doug Ford weighed in and said that we should have castle laws in Canada, as in every man should be able to defend his castle with a firearm. And look, I don't disagree with that, but like, where were you, Doug, when you were supporting Mark Carney, who is the soft on crime candidate, over Pierre Poilievre, who was the tough on crime candidate? Like, Doug Ford did everything he could to undermine the Poilievre campaign, and it showed. And then so now, like, careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Now you're getting it. Anyway, viewer feedback on my interview with Ian Runkle, who should definitely be on Rebel News a lot more. Sammy Voley writes, best firearms expert in Canada, in my honest opinion. Ian breaks down complex legal issues into these pieces that normal people can understand, because I feel like sometimes this stuff is purposefully complicated, so you just throw up your hands and say, well, I'm not an expert on this, I don't understand. He helps you understand these issues and the law and what the charges actually mean, because as a journalist too, sometimes I'm reading the charging documents that, you know, somebody I'm covering, and it could mean a whole host of things. There are a lot of offenses that they can charge under one part of the criminal code. I'm very glad that Ian was able to break that down for us. Paul Jackson, 8282, says, I agree that a castle law would be a good thing. You should be able to protect yourself, your loved ones, and yes, your property as well, and fire a lot more than a warning shot. But this is Canada, not a nation that values self-protection. I was very surprised when that farmer near Bigger, Saskatchewan got off when he shot that thief on his land stealing, but he had to state that it was an accident. If he had said he shot a damn thief, he'd still be rotting in prison. Yeah, and as I remarked with Ian, if that happened in Texas, they'd be throwing him a parade. In Canada, you go to jail. your life is ruined, even if you don't go to jail, because the process so often is the punishment. And right now, our law forces Canadians to presume that the bad guys are there to take your property, your money, violate the sanctity of your home and your safety, but also not be bad enough to hurt you. You're actually supposed to presume the benevolence of the thief, that they're there to take everything except your life. It puts a lot of trust in the bad guy, doesn't it? Anyway, this is the choice Canadians are forced to face. And Ian did give some good advice in our interview about what you can do to make your home a little safer and deter the bad guys, which was, I thought that was very helpful, and something that he has obviously thought about. Pierre Lahaye, 2698. This is what you get for voting for Carney, but Carney has those armed bodyguards. Yeah. Hey, what do you mean? This is what you get for voting for Carney? I'm a Westerner. We didn't do this to Canada. Yeah, it's funny. The people who want us to leave our keys at the front door of our house to stop the home invader from going too far into our house. And maybe we should just put the TV in the backseat of the car they're trying to steal every night so that they don't have to come and snatch it off the wall, and leave a bunch of cash under the seat so they don't have to rifle through your house looking for your safe to make it easier for the burglars. The same people handing out that advice get to wear a sidearm every day. Right? And the rest of us don't. Okay, well, everybody, that's the show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and bearing with me as I partway co-host for Ezra today. I'm hosting the show again tomorrow, and then I believe Ezra should be back full speed from the high seas on Thursday. Thanks to everybody who works behind the scenes at Rebel News to put these shows together for you so that you're able to watch wherever you want to watch and however you want to watch. Thanks to the boss for trusting me with his baby, his show for today and tomorrow. And as the boss always says, keep fighting for freedom.
Lincoln J reporting for Rebel News in Dublin, Ireland, and right now I am at an anti-immigration march. There's Irish citizens from all walks of life here to protest legal and illegal mass migration. You can check out all of our reports from Ireland at migrantreports.com. Consider making a donation to that same website. Let's check out the rally.
To be heard. We want our voices to be heard. I'm coming out here because the love of my country and the love of the Lord.
We're at a boiling point and there's no going back.
I mean, they're trying to bring in speech laws now to stop us from even coming out and standing.
We're only here in a peaceful protest. We're not here to do any harm to anyone.
Get our country back.
The Irish have had enough.
What family leaves their door open and says anybody can come in and later we'll see if you're safe for our kids or not?
I want to protest against this government.
All migration should be cutting out.
It's about profit and about destroying national identity.
And this crowd reflects the true feeling of Ireland, not the feeling of the NGO class and the political class, but the real people of Ireland.
That's why people are here. They just want to be safe in their own environment.
I don't want Ireland ending up like basically most of Europe, like Paris, like London.
What do you think about the way that the media portrays this demonstration?
Trying to sweep everything under the carpets.
They don't portray it. They don't want the truth to be out.
The media portrays everybody to suit the narrative, divide people as far right.
Do we look like far right? We're the army people of Ireland.
They are extreme left. The government is extreme left.
They're going to say there's about 2,000 people turned up. They'll probably follow the exact same lines as they did last time because they have very little imagination.
They hide a lot now, so they do.
The media are working for the devil.
I mean, they should be here to turn around and find out what the people want.
Like they do every other time, they'll totally ignore us. They will concentrate on the counter-protest. They'll say there's something like a couple of hundred people here. But these numbers are grown so huge that the mainstream media can no longer ignore it.
The mad lefties supporting everybody but Ireland. You know, so you know what side they're on.
When migrant rights are under attack.
Behind me, you have counter demonstrators, and the one thing you notice, where are the Irish flags? I see one Irish flag, but there's a bunch of other flags here. The big difference is on one side, you have a ton of Irish flags, all Irish flags, and here it's the complete opposite. I'd love to go over and engage, but it's completely blocked off. There's tons of police here. They're completely splitting both sides, so I don't think it's going to be able to happen.
They only think in black and white, right? They don't realise the globalists will run rings around them. They're weaponising people through open borders. If they truly cared about people, they would have sorted out homelessness in this country before they started virtue signalling to the rest of the world, telling people they could come here and get housed. If this was humanitarianism, there'd be no homeless people in Ireland. Open borders is racism.
The counter-protesters are all vicious slurs, creating an attempt to create a violent reaction. And our people, our families, are peace-loving. And you can see the sea of tricolours here.
If we could get the middle class out, now there's some middle class here, but in numbers, that is the only thing that would scare our government.
If you come into the country, I'm more than welcome if you come into work. We have no problem with that.
It's the illegals that are coming in that we have a problem with. Getting put up in hotels, accommodation.
You will never mention the fact of the huge increase in population is what is driving up the price of houses and the scarcity of housing. And that is what is driving up rents up and down this country.
One of the biggest problems we have is housing, and we can never solve the housing problem until we solve the immigration problem, until we stop importing people.
We are the inheritors of Ireland.
We're going to be the minority in this country in the next 10 years.
We're out the Irish people. There's no Ireland. Just understand.
migrantreports.com. Consider making a donation, support our work, and you can check out all of our coverage through that website.